Welcome to Gavels Down, Voices Up, where we flip the script on conventional legal discussions. I'm Rachel King, here to guide you through the murky waters of family law, estate conflicts, inheritance disputes, all of the dramas. We're not just talking about law, we're talking about how it affects your life, your rights, your future, and your money. From the courtroom to your living room, we bring you insights that matter. Dive into each episode ready to challenge, learn, and grow. Ready to change the dialogue? Let's begin. Gavels down, voices up. Welcome back to Gavels Down, Voices Up. Today, we're going to be talking all about social media. Because let's face it, even all of the people saying they hate it, they're staying off of it, they're involved somehow. Yep, Pinterest and Reddit, they're still social media. So are all of the forums. I don't know that there's any person that can genuinely say they are not some kind of social media person in 2024. So today, we're going to break down the intersection of law and life. Today's topic is one that has been making waves through the courtroom. How can social media affect your legal case? Whether you're an Instagram queen or a TikTok fanatic, or even someone who thinks posting anonymously will save you, it probably won't. Today, we're going to talk all about the things that you need to know social media meets lawsuit. We'll cover real life stories about people's posts where they came back and bit them in the courtroom. From TikTokers documenting psychedelic journeys and trips to marathon runners claiming a disability. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. And yes, we'll dive into the big issue of anonymous posting. We've all got that friend that overshares, right? Well, oversharing could be the star witness in your upcoming case in the courtroom against you. So let's start with the risks, how social media can actually ruin your case. The bottom line is that anything you post online can be used as evidence against you in the courtroom. Even if you think it's private or temporary like Snapchat, probably not. For example, I had a case where someone was accused of drug use. That's pretty common, especially in the family law custody scene. They denied it in court, but we found an entire TikTok series where they were live streaming themselves under the influence of psychedelics. During these live stream psychedelic episodes, they were explaining what they were on, how much they took, why they were taking it, all about microdosing, and explaining what was happening during their trip. Needless to say, these TikTok videos were entertaining but didn't go over very well in the courtroom in favor of my client. So then there's Snapchat, right? The app that makes everything disappear, except that they don't. One person sent a Snapchat from a party. Simple enough, we're all out having a good time. And in the background, somebody was holding a bong up to their face, clearly smoking. The recipient of the snap screenshotted it and then sent it to the other parent to be used in court against the parent that was being accused of doing the drugs. Yeah, I bet that was unexpected. So the first thing to keep in mind is that once you post something, even if you think it's temporary or you later delete it or there's something else going on, once it's been put out into the universe on social media or the internet in general, it's very hard to take down or take away. Take a second before you post and think about what you're about to post. And in fact, let's sit back and think about the last thing you did post on social media. Would you be comfortable having somebody testify that you did it in court or having it be used against you in a lawsuit? While some of my posts don't always paint me in the best light, I can honestly say that I'm okay with just about all of them. I can't think of one that I'd be like, that could be really bad if it was used against me. Maybe I don't look so great in them, but they don't ruin my case. Why? Because, well, quite frankly, I'm a lawyer and I try and be careful of what I post on social media. But, all right, let's step back. Let's not be too harsh on social media because sometimes it can work in your favor. And in fact, if we look at the cases that I just talked about, they worked in somebody's favor, right? Just not the one who it was being used against. In a divorce or a child custody case, social media can be used to uncover hidden assets or expose somebody's real behavior, like we were seeing for drug use. When it comes to assets, I once had another parent, other side, opposing party, who was saying they were destitute, they couldn't afford anything. How in the world could they afford child support? Please, Your Honor, take pity on me, deviate from guideline, and reduce my support by giving me a hardship. Well, the trips that you took over the last 24 months to Hawaii and Germany and England and the Bahamas and Mexico, that speaks a little differently of the story you're painting in court. No? I had another case where one spouse claimed they couldn't afford spousal support because, again, financial hardship, but then posted their new expensive boat all over Facebook. I think when we ended up getting the boat appraised, it came in at like $250,000. So maybe if you hadn't bought the boat, you'd be able to afford spousal support. Then there was also an Instagram case where somebody posted a suicide letter. Actually, this was very, very sad. Posted the suicide letter, used as an opportunity to explain why they were having suicidal thoughts, what was going on, and really it was an opportunity, I think at that time, for them to say goodbye to the world. But good news, they didn't commit suicide. There was an intervention and it was prevented. However, in an emergency court proceeding to get the children into a safe place and out of that environment that was at that point very dangerous, that suicide letter and Instagram post were used for the benefit of keeping the kids safe. So social media posts can actually play a vital and a pivotal role in every case. I guess whether it's being used against you or for you really depends on what side of the case you're on and what was going on in the social media post. Nonetheless, next time you're scrolling through your news feed or looking at what people have posted regularly in the groups, think about how that person's post might affect a legal battle that they're in, especially family law, because it seems to come up a lot in family law and PI cases. Let's take a quick break. If you're navigating the twists and turns of divorce, you might be wondering, getting divorced, now what? That's actually the title of my upcoming book, designed to guide you through the challenging and emotional process of divorce. It's packed with real-life stories, expert tips, and motivational insights to empower you every step of the way. While it's not available just yet, you can join the waitlist to make sure you don't miss out. Head over to RachelKingAttorney.com to sign up to be the first to get a copy and enter to win a free signed copy as soon as it releases. Arm yourself with the knowledge to move forward confidently through this challenging time. Now let's get back to the show. Real quick before we move on, I actually did have a case where we were able to use social media to recover assets in an estate. We were fairly certain that there was a whole bunch of jewelry and coins, but when we went into the safe and searched all of Mom's house, they were nowhere to be found. Well, it's really hard to say they were in existence at death if we can't find them, except that we did notice that one of the family members that was very close in distance and time started posting on the marketplace these items for sale. This didn't happen until 8 or 9 months later. Maybe they thought enough time had passed, but you can't be selling the assets that we thought didn't exist. We were able to use those to go in and marshal the assets, the ones that we could. The ones that we couldn't sell or we couldn't recover, we ended up getting a surcharge for. But even then, social media can be really, really helpful. Now, let's break down the top 3 things that you need to avoid when it comes to social media during any lawsuit. We're talking it being used against you, not for you. Number 1, oversharing hands down. Social media should be fun. It should be light. It should be social, right? So nobody wants to hear all of your drama. Keep it light. You can scroll if you don't like it, but it is not a letter to your therapist. Social media is made for oversharing, but that's the problem. Imagine that you're suing a restaurant because you slipped and you fell, and you're claiming serious injury and disability. But then a few months later, while this lawsuit is going on, or maybe you haven't even filed yet, you finish a marathon and you post your medal and your picture at the finish line all over social media. What do you think the first thing that restaurant and those PI defense attorneys are going to say? They're going to say real quick that you were not quite as seriously injured or disabled as you are pleading, and it could have significant effects on your overall recovery. On the other hand, maybe you shouldn't be recovering so much if you aren't quite as disabled or seriously injured as you are saying. Number 2, posting while emotional. And gosh, aren't we all guilty of this? We get a little ticked off. We have something that's happening. Even if it's good, we just want to post while we are emotional. Or we're reading social media and we see somebody that posted and we get, so upset about it. It just makes our heart race and we want to fight it out online. So we type a post or a response when we're super emotional. It's tempting to vent online, especially because there's that keyboard warrior distance. It doesn't seem quite as confrontational. But when you are in a legal dispute, especially a family law case, trust me, these emotional outbursts, these posts, they will come and get used against you. In one particular custody case that I had, there was a post saying, "I just can't take this anymore." And it was brought up in court to suggest instability. I also have seen emotional outbursts where somebody says, "I'm never going to let other parents see our kids again over my dead body." Well, that doesn't go over for best interest or co-parenting properly. And third, deleting posts. Yes, there's a temptation to delete posts, right? You posted something online and you're like, I wish I could take that back. Why? Because you probably overshared or you posted emotionally. Think deleting posts will help? Probably not. Deleting something can be seen as tampering with evidence or actually can make you look more wrong or the evidence more powerful than it was, because otherwise, why would you want to be getting rid of it? Even if it's gone from your profile, social media platforms often keep records and posts can be subpoenaed. I've had to subpoena social media records before, and in some cases, you can face even legal sanctions if you try and destroy the social media evidence that could be used against you. Of course, you always want to talk to an attorney about how to do all of this and whether or not you can make changes to your social media accounts. That's my little disclaimer there. But let's talk about a big myth that I hear all the time, and it's really common right now, and that is, I'll post anonymously. Spoiler alert, there is no such thing as true anonymity online. Just because you use a fake name or an anonymous account or you check that little post anonymous button doesn't mean that you can't be traced. That is an absolute fiction and a falsehood. So don't shield yourself behind your apparent anonymity. For example, in one defamation case, the defendant posted a derogatory content or derogatory posting, I guess, under a pseudonym, thinking they'd never ever be caught, kind of like a vent. And look at me now, you can't even find me. They just really wanted to get their words in. But the court actually subpoenaed the internet service provider and their identity was revealed. Or maybe the court didn't subpoena, maybe the court ordered the release of the identity. And guess what? Yeah, it was complied with and the identity was revealed. Their anonymous post became court evidence. So here's the lesson. If you wouldn't say it in a courtroom, don't post it online, even under a different name. The internet always has a way of revealing your identity. And I know this is all easier said than done, but maybe if you hear it enough, you'll take some time to think twice before you post on the internet. So the big takeaway, social media is a super powerful tool. And let's be honest, it's pretty darn fun. It can be used to help you, but it can also be used to really, really hurt you depending on what the circumstance is. Whether you're sharing, venting, trying to post anonymously, always remember that it's out there and it's virtually impossible to pull back. And it can be used in court. If you're in a legal dispute, having an expert attorney, of course, is key, and I'm an attorney, so I always am a little bit biased in favor of attorneys. But not only can we guide you through the complexities of evidence, but we can also make sure that any bad evidence, stuff that doesn't really comply with the rules of evidence, stays out of court. Social media is super tricky, but with the right legal team, you can navigate it without getting as burned. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope now you pop over to social media, follow, subscribe, like, comment. I'd be interested in hearing any of your stories about how social media has been used for you or against you, but even more fun, let's start sharing all of the crazy nonsense that people have been willing to post and put out into the internet world of social media that might come back and bite them later, but hopefully not. That wraps up another episode of Gavels Down, Voices Up. If you found value in our discussion today, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with someone who needs these insights. Your engagement helps us grow and impact more lives. I'm Rachel King, thanking you for listening and reminding you to speak up, because every voice deserves to be heard.